Sports presents the Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week. The Princeton University Tigers versus the Johns Hopkins University Blue Jays.
And what a way to kick off another lacrosse season here on 2 Sports. We're at Homewood Field on the Johns Hopkins University campus. Scott Garceau, Keith Mills, and Quint Kesnick. We've got the defending national champs against a Hopkins team many have ranked as high as 3rd, Keith. A pretty good way to kick off another season.
Scott, what a great season it'll be. We have 7 of the top 8 teams in the preseason polls that will follow this lacrosse season. Towson, Syracuse, Virginia, they're all here. And Princeton and Hopkins today. And Scott, it's like NASCAR, starting with the Super Bowl of NASCAR, which is the Daytona 500. Princeton and Hopkins, doesn't get any bigger than that.
We're going to find out a lot in a hurry, and with us, our expert analyst, Quint Kesnick, is back. Quint, a Princeton team, won a national championship, but won 3 one-goal games in the NCAAs. I guess when you look at them, you say the attack is back.
Yeah, the signature of Princeton has always been the defense, but this team is loaded up front. You've got 3 great attackmen. The first we're going to take a look at is Ryan Boyle. He's a sophomore from Gilman. Last year, the Ivy League Rookie of the Season. He's really known for his ability to distribute and pass the ball. 37 assists to go with 16 goals. Right there he scores against Dartmouth. Boyle assisted the game winner in the national championship game to B.J. Prager. It's a great 1-2 tandem. He's our next athlete we'll take a look at. Prager plays inside. He is a senior from Garden City. 2 years ago had to sit out because of a knee injury. Right there, that's the game-winning goal in overtime in last year's national championship game. Prager is just a great shooter. 36 goals, about a 50% shooter, 48% on the season. This guy knows how to find the back of the net.
They'll keep the Hopkins defense busy. Over on the Hopkins side, Keith, excellent recruiting class for Dave Petramala, but they've got some firepower coming back.
Yeah, they've got some firepower. Like Princeton, their top 3 scorers return, and they are led by junior Bobby Benson. 28 goals as a freshman, 28 goals as a sophomore. At 6'4", 200 pounds, he is a very difficult matchup. He can score with both hands. He can beat you in a lot of different ways. As I said, 6'4", 200 pounds. He can turn the lights out on a lot of teams. 28 goals, 14 assists. He's just a junior. He's from McDonough, one of many, many McDonough players on the field today. Now, he will not have Adam Doniger on the attack this year. That's because Doniger is moving from attack to midfield. Number 25, Hopkins' 2nd leading scorer from a year ago. He's from Lynbrook, New York. 18 goals and 12 assists last year. Adam Doniger, probably a natural midfielder, Scott, so he's moving back to his natural position, and Dave Petramala's wishes of getting some more firepower at the midfield.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup, and Quinn has the keys to this game. We're back right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better choices. Get the feeling. Toyota. Wells Discount Liquors. Visit Wells for all your entertaining needs. And Union Memorial Sports Medicine. Outstanding in the field.
Defending national champion Princeton and Hopkins here today. This series goes back to 1890. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, Quint. First with the Princeton Tigers.
Princeton's all about the attack, one of the best attack units in the country. I'd rate Syracuse as #1. This unit, the 2nd best in the country. Prager, 36 goals. Ryan Boyle from Gilman. And Sean Hartopoulos, 33 goals for the left-hander last season. Take a look at the midfielders. 2 players from McDonough, Owen Daly and Brad Dumont. And then you have Dan Clark, the senior from New Jersey. On defense, one of the best defenses in the country. Scott Farrell, the captain, Damian Davis from Gilman, and Brian Lieberman. You will also see Ricky Schultz from Loyola High School. And in goal, Julian Gould getting his first start in the nets. He's a junior from Nyack, New York.
Trevor Tierney no longer in goal. That's a question mark for the defending national
It's a huge question mark. Gould has struggled in the early season scrimmages. Their backup is by the name of Matt Larkin, who played at Severn last year. Coach Tierney has usually given his veteran goalie a lot of leeway, so don't expect a quick hook.
All right, it's round 2 for Dave Petramala here at Hopkins. Keith, how about the Blue Jays starting lineup?
Yeah, Scott, I like Princeton in goal. Couple of question marks and some youth, but not right here. Bobby Benson, Connor Ford. Ford, the other freshman attackman from last year, had a real good year. He's the 3rd leading scorer back. And there's freshman Paul Lesor, number 29, one of 3 freshmen who will start. Up to 6 or 7 will play a lot today. First midfield, Matt Hanna, the senior from Geneva, New York. And there's another freshman, Kyle Harrison, freshman. You will see him a lot today. He's from Friends. He will also face off today, replacing Eric Whedon, and Adam Doniger, number 25, who we just mentioned, moves from attack to midfield. On defense, some question marks. Michael Pizer, PJ DeConza, and another freshman, Chris Watson, a highly regarded freshman, but still playing his first college game against the defending national champs. And in goal, making his first college start, is senior co-captain Nick Murtha, who replaces Rob Scher. Scher played virtually every minute last year, but Nick Murtha beat him out in the fall and then again in preseason drills already.
Well, Keith, he's had a whole year to prepare for him. Time now for a Baltimore County Savings Bank keys to the game. You're on the spot.
Well, Princeton, as the defending national champs, one of their most important keys is don't forget about the little things, and that being face-offs and ground balls. They have to work hard at the small details of the game. Secondly, Julian Gould, their goaltender, he needs to save about 50%. If he struggles, it could be a long day. Hopkins, they're going to play 6 to 10 freshmen. Avoid the stage fright. And finally, manufacture some goals. It's very tough to score against Princeton in the 6-on-6 half field set. They need to score an extra man, riding, and through some transition.
All right, we're just about set to go. Back with the face-off. It's Princeton and Hopkins coming up next. We are set to go. Princeton in the orange. Drew Casino to face off against freshman Kyle Harrison. And the two sports, Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week is underway for another season. Season number 5, Keith.
Yes, Scott, long, nice road to this point, huh? And we just saw number 5, Quint Cowberry, one of those good-looking freshmen.
The 3 main freshmen you'll see on offense is this player right here. That's Kyle Harrison, freshman out of Friends, one of the best players in the MIAA conference. And then behind the goal, Kyle Barry, number 5. He's a right-handed player, and 29, that's Lesueur. He's the lefty from Garden City.
Apparently, Quint, some changes. Connor Ford also on the attack. Moved him back to midfield, right?
Yeah, Connor Ford rotates up to play midfield, number 16. He's a sophomore, and Doniger, as Keith said earlier, rotates up to play midfield.
Princeton, the defending national champions. That's the freshman Harrison with it. Up on top, and Ford with a shot on goal. And that's probably a pretty good start for Julian Gould, right, to make an early save.
Interesting matchup. Quinn Kyle-Balger, who is the best short stick midfielder defensive player for Princeton, guarding Kyle Harrison right out of the gate. A lot of respect for Harrison.
That's Barry behind the goal. Up top, Harrison looking for some room. A bouncer, and he scores. The freshman from Friends gets Hopkins on the board first at the 13:38 mark. Kyle Harrison, they say he's the top athlete on the team, and he makes an immediate impact.
This kid was so impressive last week in a scrimmage against Cornell, breaking ankles, breaking guys down one-on-one. Princeton chose to put the pole on Doniger, and Harrison makes him pay. He burns. Balger runs by him like he's standing still, and then the bounce shot trickles past Gould. Harrison demands a double team. He can break any guy down in the country, his speed, his quickness.
How's that for a debut? You win the opening face-off against Princeton, and you score your first shot. But Casino gets even, Scott.
Yeah.
Princeton has their first possession of the year.
So here comes that front line attack. Prager, Boyle, Artopoulos. They brought it all back from the national championship team. Maybe some questions on the defense and midfield, but no questions up front.
Absolutely. A lot of poise and a lot of experience up front.
A tough matchup for Hopkins defense because of their inexperience matched up directly against the strength of the Princeton team.
Up top, that's number 9, Drew Casino, face-off specialist.
And he's staying in, Scott, so he is playing on the midfield right now.
Owen Daly.
We mentioned earlier, a lot of McDonough guys. Daly, number 3, went to McDonough. Joe Rosenbaum went to McDonough.
Keith, you look at the numbers, you know, Boyle, he's the distributor. 16 goals last year, 37 assists. And then Hartopoulos and Prager, their goal scorers, don't assist many. 33 and 36 goals last year. Hartopoulos with 33, the big shot. Prager with 36, including the winner of the NCAA championship game.
Couple key points defensively for Hopkins. Emphasis on minimizing the number of touches that number 14 Ryan Boyle takes, and obviously not leaving B.J. Prager open in front of the cage. Do not leave Prager to go cover someone else. He's too dangerous in front.
Dave Petramala, you just saw him over on the Hopkins side. He said, second year, you say, well, it should be a little easier. They know what to expect. He says, I'm not so sure. First year is a honeymoon. Yeah. Everybody's paying attention. He said, we really got to concentrate in year 2.
Well done by Murtha. He blocks the pass in front, but then as he gained possession, it was an interference call on another defender, so Princeton maintains possession.
Hopkins with an early 1-0 lead, in on goal, but good defense. Not able to get much on that shot was Boyle as he was knocked down.
And this is Benson Irwin. Quint, another one of those good-looking freshmen. Dave Petramala not hesitant to play today.
Irwin out of Friends, a teammate of Kyle Harrison. Friends had a solid team last year. Seemed like Irwin and Harrison played the entire game of every game last year. But he's another talented young freshman that we'll see.
And there's the main man, Bobby Benson, back behind the goal. Benson had a super year last year, now a junior. Member of the U.S. national team, will be playing in the World Games this summer in Australia.
You see anything different, Quint, from Princeton defense, or is that usual kind of aggressive zone defense that they usually play?
Yeah, it's slide, rotate, and recover. They are very quick to double team the ball and really condense the field. The other players really support the middle of the field. You've got to beat them with quick ball movement. You see how quickly right there they step up and double team. Reverse fields.
Benson, a left-hander.
Get your shot. That is very well done offensively.
Yeah, and we said that a lot when we watch Princeton. Usually it's against Hopkins. The key is to reverse the ball, backside, and attack. And if you can do that, which is rare, you're going to have some success.
And we got a whistle stops play.
Extra ball on the field. Last year, Princeton only surrendered double digits twice.
Couple of shoes over on the Hopkins sideline there.
Getting ready for the expected rain, Scott.
Did you have a shoe contract when you played, Quint?
No. We just Coach Rich Mascarella, our equipment manager, would dig up exactly the Keds, some from the 70s.
Chucks.
This is Kevin Bolin as Hopkins has her second midfield in. McDermott, 42.
And McDermott, a sophomore now. He played on the attack last year. This is Berry, another freshman.
Obviously real early, guys, but if you're Dave Petramala, you have to like the way your team has come out.
Now here's the double team. Good look there, and a shot and a save. Pretty good shot on goal by Peter Lesueur, the freshman.
But how about Lesueur's hustle, Scott? He actually, I think Gould had maybe a 5-yard head start on that, and Lesueur ran him down.
Lesueur, the lefty, lets it go. Gould makes the save, and then it's just a race, one-on-one to the end line. Like the ball movement that time. McDermott kind of penetrated, and he kicked it, as you said, Keith, to the weak side. That's going to be the key. Patience on offense. Move the ball.
A lot what Duke does in basketball. Penetrate, kick it out, try to draw the defense.
McDermott double team. Picked up by Peter Lesueur.
Of the goals that Princeton will give up on the 6-on-6 set, very few are unassisted.
Berry with a little wraparound.
Which made Harrison's goal even that much more impressive, Quint.
Out front, good look, but the shot wide from Benson.
Yeah, that wasn't even close, Scott, but again, good look, drew the defense, made the extra pass.
That was fine execution. Bolin drew the double team, kicks it behind, and then Benson fills that near seam. Hopkins looking very sharp. They had a very competitive scrimmage last week against Cornell. It had game-like intensity. Meanwhile, Princeton's coming off a scrimmage against Adelphi, so advantage Hopkins in their preseason preparation for this first game.
How good is the Princeton program? Well, how about 6 national titles in the last 10 years? What Bill Tierney has done there, 23-6 record in the tournament. And they don't rebuild, they just keep reloading. Yeah, with that talent.
Well, we were talking before the game, Bill and I, Scott. It seems like just yesterday that Damian Davis, Rosenbaum, all these kids that he recruited out of Baltimore 2 years ago are now juniors already. Davis, we talked about 2 years ago, played his first college game here, played so well, and now he's a established All-American.
Here's Adam Doniger cranking it up. Nothing there, gives it up. Hopkins with a 1-0 lead on a goal from freshman Kyle Harrison.
And that's Davis there with the strip, Scott, of the freshman Lesueur. Remember last year in the national championship, he stripped Mike Powell in a key possession.
Owen Daly pushing it up for the Tigers, and he's going to crank up high.
The two best outside shooters, Daly and Dumont for Princeton. And then Hartopoulos is a great wing shooter. But defensively, that's where the goalie's telling the defense, hey, pick him up, please.
Pick him up, absolutely.
Because Daly set his feet from about 12 yards.
And Daly last year, 11 of 21 shots. He scored on over 52% of his shots.
Part of that great team coached by Jake Reed a couple of years ago at McDonough.
Mark Pellegrino in on the midfield.
Brad Dumont, another guy on that team that is on this Princeton team, and he's on the first team midfield with Owen Daly.
Josh White from St. Mary's, number 36 in possession. Hopkins up 1-0 first quarter. Opener for both of these teams. It's been a traditional opener. They first played each other back in 1890.
Think there are any Hopkins Brad still around from then? Quint, you know any of them?
Row H downstairs.
Banging the drum today.
See the patience and value of each possession here, both teams.
Next week we'll see Towson, Maryland. How many shots do you think Towson would have in a 1-minute possession?
Towson in their victory over Rutgers only took 37 shots, which kind of concerned me. To me, they're the type of team that they need 50 to 60 shots per game if they're playing their style.
Yeah.
But
they scored 15 goals off it.
Yeah, they scored 15. But that up-tempo style, to me, might take some time to gel over the course of the season.
Yeah. After the Hartopoulos miss, we've got a timeout. 6:58 left first quarter. Hopkins up 1-0. Oh, yeah. The Jays, what does that say? Squash? 2 sports?
Squash the princesses. Okay, here we go. I'll figure it out. Speaking of the princesses, this is I find it interesting. You mentioned Scott, a great stat. Princeton's won 6 championships in the last 10 years. 4 of those 6 in overtime in the championship game.
Finding a way to win the close ones. And that was their story last year. 3 one-goal wins, Loyola, Towson, and Syracuse in overtime.
Absolutely.
Oh, and a turnover.
The bad pass from Mark Trevenant.
That ball was deflected off of a Hopkins defender.
Yeah, that's what Dumont is pleading.
He's pleading hard, but
no luck.
Clearing, I guess, a game like today against Princeton, so important, Quint. Always important, but especially today.
Yeah, ball control, controlling the tempo, and minimizing Princeton's possessions, one of Coach Petromala's focus. He knows with his inexperienced defense, the more times Princeton gets the ball, the more dangerous they're going to be. And obviously, we've seen Hopkins very, very patient.
Back behind the goal, it's Peter Lesor, freshman from Garden City, New York.
Scott, you mentioned Princeton's defense, or Quint mentioned Hopkins' defense. Princeton lost Trevor Tierney, Ryan Mallett, 2 All-Americans, and talking to Bill Tierney before the game, and that's concerning him. You know, his depth, he says, on defense, nowhere near what it was last year.
I think I read they lost 4 All-Americans, but they still returned 4.
Sure, so they do. And like you said, they reload.
Bolin.
Nice save by Gould. Just holds his ground on the near side, matches up stick on stick. A big save for him because Boland had gotten underneath the defense.
Bogger brings it up for Princeton.
Still, Quint, it looks like Hopkins not afraid to take the defense on. Looks like when they get the opportunity, they're going to attack it. Harrison there, Boland.
Hartopoulos with it. This is Bogger up top. Dumont.
And hounded by Chris Watson. Scott, we talked about him. Yeah. One of the real good-looking freshmen. Dave Petromala was telling Quint and I last week that not the fastest, best athlete, but very, very smart.
He's going to be the air traffic controller inside for the Hopkins defense.
How directing
smart? 1590 on his SATs. He must have sat
very
next to,
smart. How did he miss a question? If I couldn't take it 3 times, you get 1590.
Owen Daly. Keith and I got a 1500. I was just a little over 7, and you had about 8, right? Oh, look out. Can't clear it. It's loose.
Oh!
Behind the back shot, and it just missed.
And there to run it down for Hopkins is the goalie, Nick Murtha. So
Murtha had trouble clearing, and to give Princeton credit, they kept the heat on. Prager nearly scored.
Murtha makes a save, and this is where inexperience will show. Take a look at Gould's save against Bolin, stuffs him one-on-one. Then at the other end, Murtha take a look at this behind the back shot off the Murtha turnover, misses the cage as Watson sprawls.
And we take a timeout with Hopkins still up 1-0. Well, here's some of the losses on both sides in this game. Some graduations that had an impact.
Strebel, Torty, and Ryan Mallett, along with the goalie, Tierney. And then for Hopkins, Sean Nadlin,
Wait a minute,
their best
Quint.
defender. He's actually an assistant coach.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but we got a Keith Mills sighting here. Hey,
you know,
Keith.
that guy has finally spelled my name right. You know, we saw Sean Nadlin's name down along with Connor Danahan and Whedon. He's assistant coach now of Princeton, so he's turncoat, Quint. Hey, you get a job offer, you have to take it, right?
Yeah, came out yesterday in his orange warm-ups, and Coach Petramala went over to Coach Tierney and said, hey, can't you have him at least wear black?
Yeah, right. At least let him wear a Hopkins alumni shirt or something.
Kyle Harrison with it. He's got the only goal in the game. 3:40 left first quarter.
And he has Owen Daly, who is more of an offensive midfielder guarding him, even though he's a pretty solid defender.
Daly is going to be an old-school type midfielder this season. He's going to play a defensive shift and then transition the ball up the field. That's what Princeton did last year with Rob Torty. When you have a great athlete like that, you can really generate some great transition opportunities. Daly's going to be on the field probably about 80% of the game.
Will we eventually see that as Kyle Harrison gets some experience, Quint, in what he does for this Hopkins team?
Yeah, I would think with his ability to face off, that's going to put him on the field quite a bit and run first midfield. I mean, that's asking a lot of a freshman to make in his first game. But
well, I meant as his career.
As his career goes on, yeah, he will have the ability to play both offense and defense.
Princeton having trouble clearing. Benson got a stick on it.
How many times last year we see guys, Benson put his big stick up, all 6'4" of them, and knock a ball down.
This is going to be one of the weaknesses of this Princeton team. Remember last year, Ryan Mallett handled the ball so effectively, and their goalie, Tierney, a great quarterback, a great outlet passer. This defense, not known for their stick handling ability. They're great defenders, guys like Davis, Lieberman, Farrell, Ricky Schultz,
sure.
But they're not known for their ball handling skills.
Pressure again on the Princeton defense, Scotty. Yep. I'm sorry.
This is Adam Doniger, number 25.
And that is Ricky Schultz, got number 7. Remember, 2 years ago we did the Calvert Hall Loyola football game, and he dominated that game from his defensive linebacker spot.
Oh, the quickness you saw at that time from Harrison. Good shot inside, knocked down.
Gould looks sharp. That was his best save yet. The right-hander going down to his knees, and he was all over that one. Just snagged it. This was a terrific save. Watch the replay. Nice ball movement. Lesueur plants and fires, and there he is. Gould is all ready for that.
Can't get much more of a better shot than that if you're Hopkins.
Barry gets it up top, freshman to Kyle Harrison.
Boy, you could just see his natural fluidness there. Just cuts on a dime. His dad, Miles, I talked about this before, noted doctor in town. You see Dave Petramala wrote a book last year with Chip Silverman, 10 Bears, about the Morgan State lacrosse program. Excellent book.
Princeton trying to get it up this time, and they do. Tigers trying to get on the board. Hopkins with a 1-0 lead on a goal from Kyle Harrison.
Have not mentioned Ryan Boyle's name very much, and we have not mentioned Sean Hartopoulos, number 20, his name very much either.
Prager had the one shot, the behind the back shot, which was falling down, but that was it for him.
Penetrating, a shot and a score. Mark Pellegrino.
And that time, Quinn, it looked like he beat the freshman Benson Irwin on that and just kind of hit another gear.
Pellegrino down the side. The Hopkins defense does not double team. You can see it comes a little late, and Pellegrino beats Nick Murtha down low. Pellegrino in the lineup because Will McCall, one of the better midfielders for Princeton, out for the season with an ACL injury. So Pellegrino steps up and scores Princeton's first goal.
And it's got yet another freshman, Lou Braun, number 27 for Hopkins from Upper Arlington, Ohio, takes that face off and looks like he's going to win it.
Another one of those football players from Ohio playing some lacrosse. He played on the big school state championship team. Upper Arlington's become quite a lacrosse program in Ohio.
Yes, it has. Brandon Shook, who played here at Hopkins. Remember that program?
Down to 1:21 left in the quarter as you look at Dave Petramala working that Hopkins sideline. Petramala, the only person to ever be a National Player of the Year and a National Coach of the Year. Player of the Year at Hopkins in '89 and Coach of the Year in 2000. Uh-oh, look out. Benson just about got there in that crossfield pass.
Wow. Yeah, Dave, you can see the
offsides.
Yeah, you can see the coach. The Hopkins coaches are screaming offsides when it was called. See Damian Davis there, number 25 from Gilman, telling his defense to get back.
Excellent riding by Johns Hopkins. That's the second failed clear in the first quarter by Princeton. That's got to be a concern. And they dodged a huge bullet there because Benson nearly picked that off on the run.
Yes, he did.
And went in for an empty net.
That's a layup, yeah. Blue Jays working. Final minute of the first quarter, tied at 1. Season opener for both teams.
And a pretty good crowd considering the gloomy, cold weather here. Expected rain.
Bolin up top. This is Barry. Oh, had a good look.
Yes, he did.
Benson. This is Bolin. Backed up. Hopkins.
But Bobby wishes he could have that one back.
Great check by 34. That's Kyle Bogger, one of the better short stick defensive middies in the country. He and Daly form a nice tandem for this defense.
Davis on Doniger there. That's a tough matchup. Ooh. Damian Davis, two-time Baltimore Sun Athlete of the Year at Gilman. Wrestle.
Final seconds now.
Oh, got a step.
Nice move as Barry got out front, and that's going to end the first quarter. So 1 in the books. We're tied at 1. Back to Hopkins right after this. Let's take a look at the Paramount Kings Dominion stats after 1 quarter.
Roller coasters, water rides, cotton candies, Kings Dominion.
And first quarter stats.
Gotta love the first quarter stats. One of the key differentials right up top, the shots. Hopkins with 12, Princeton with only 5 shots. Got to be impressed by the way Hopkins controlling this game. Unfortunately for them, the score's tied.
And there comes Benson Irwin, number 37, charging in to win the faceoff. Kyle Harrison is 2 for 2 from the X with a goal. Not a bad way to start a college career.
Harrison with the Hopkins goal. Pellegrino with the Princeton goal.
So far, both teams doing a pretty good job on the big guns, Quint. Benson silent, Doniger silent, Prager and Boyle silent. You mentioned the Kyle Harrison MIAA Player of the Year. It's almost like an A-conference reunion out here today. All the Gilman and McDonough players, friends, guys. A couple of St. Paul's and Loyola.
Here's Harrison just breaking down the defense.
Nice catch.
Good catch, yeah.
See that move by Harrison, though? I mean, just paralyzing change of direction right there.
You're going to have to slide guys to help on him.
Boy, there's the double team, triple team there.
When they see the back of your jersey, they just go. And Princeton sends 2 or 3 guys at you. And that type of move will not work against this defense.
And Barry turns it over, and we got a whistle. Back to
look
Hopkins.
out, look out. Ryan Boyle, yeah, you could see it coming.
And we got a flag down.
You could see it coming. Quint just
watch Boyle will play without a stick right there. He grabs with his left hand. He grabs the long pole. I think that was Michael Pizer. And then Boyle has some words for the official, and Boyle, truthfully, is known as a guy who loves to work the officials. He and Bob Benson are two of the best attackmen in this country, but both love to work the officials much like a coach does. And I think a point of emphasis this year is going to be no contact, no talking to the officials.
Well, your official can't take that. That was blatant. He's got to throw the flag there. And you see the flag.
That's Hartopoulos.
Picks it up. He says, I'll get a shot sooner or later here. Big possession here. First extra man attempt now, and it comes for Hopkins with 13:40 to go.
Blue Jays try to cash in now. Break the tie. Benson up top. Doniger was loaded, but no shot.
Doniger and Ford, they're the cannons up top. They've got the great outside shots.
Good job by the defense as they get a stick on it. Bogger got a stick on it, and here come the Tigers.
It's Lieberman, Scott. He's looking to make a rush here. Owen Daly calling for some reinforcement.
Tierney wants a timeout. Tierney wants a timeout and gets it.
Bill Tierney on top of things right in front of him, as a matter of fact, and a good defensive set, as you see Tierney, who used to be an assistant coach here at Hopkins, firing his troops up on the sideline.
Well, if this game continues to go at the low-scoring pace it is, the man-up situations are going to be huge. And Hopkins there missed a golden opportunity without even getting a shot on. Credit Princeton's defense. They packed it in. They got their stick up and knocked the ball down.
Well, this has been the traditional opener for both of these teams, Princeton and Hopkins. 10 of the last 13 have gone to Princeton, and all 3 of their losses in that stretch by just 1 goal. But prior to that, Hopkins had won 24 straight in the series.
But Scotty, since that guy, Bill Tierney's taken over, he's 9-5 against Hopkins, and it's no surprise since his team has really probably been the premier team in the 90s, and he's made it very difficult for this Hopkins team to get a season-opening win.
Of course, Bill Tierney here, an assistant at Hopkins, Quint. He's got Hopkins' background in him. Dave Petramala was recruited by Bill Tierney to Hopkins. So,
and you wonder, Scott, this day and age, Bill Tierney lost what, I guess. There's your education dollars going to work for you. 1988, Tierney was 2-13. 1989, 6-8. Princeton obviously patient with Tierney, and it's paid off. You wonder how many programs this day and age would be patient with a 2-13 coach.
Yeah.
Back-to-back losing seasons, but they were 12 years, 14 years ago with Bill Tierney.
There's one up the street that was patient with a coach who had a record like that, and look what happened last year.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I guess what I'm saying, one of the few sports where patience is allowed.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And Tierney, the first year, called the freshman and he said, you guys are going to win a national championship. And they said they sat there and said, oh, sure. And sure enough, they did. And I think they said of the last 8 or 9 graduating classes at Princeton, every one of those classes has won at least 2 national championships.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Come on.
We've got a 1-1 tie here. Early second quarter, another penalty marker down.
Oh, nice screen there. Boyle just rocked P.J. DeConza.
Good look and a shot sails wide.
And another foul.
Bogger let it fly.
The first one's going to be against Harned for a slash, and the second one, I think, occurs against Bogger as he lets that go. It might have been a high hit and late, and I think they're going to flag Michael Pizer, number 20. So 2 fouls against Hopkins. Right now, Princeton will only have 5 offensive players out because Boyle's still in the penalty box. But when he's released, it'll be a 6-on-4. Right now, it's a 5-on-4.
Yeah, I mentioned it was Boyle. It was actually Trevinson who set that screen and kind of ripped P.J. DeConza, setting that shot up.
Hartopoulos did a fine job getting himself clear off of that double team, and there's Coach Tierney.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, you would have to say that Dave Petramala and Bill Tierney, they're going to leave it on the field just like their players today. I don't think I've ever seen
the emotion with him last year when they won the national championship with the tears streaming down, and of course his son in goal. And what a moment that was.
Oh, no doubt. His son Trevor now has Ryan Boyle coming back on the field.
Well, the referees right there blew the whistle, and there's no ball. They blew the whistle, hey, let's play. And then the Princeton players are all standing around saying, hey, where's the ball?
And Ryan Boyle's trying to get back on the field, and now he's being escorted off.
Exactly. Now they got to put the time back on the clock, take Boyle back off the field, and we have a ball.
One of the great things I love about this sports, guys, are the coaching staffs are right next to each other and basically can feed off each other during a game. You saw maybe some of the expressions from both coaches kind of looking at each other. See Dave Metz-Bauer there next to Bill Tierney, longtime assistant.
5-on-4, Princeton with the extra man right here.
And now Boyle comes on.
And this is an awful dangerous unit. Princeton Boyle, the trigger man. You've got Daly as a great outside shooter. Hartopoulos is a great outside shooter. And then number 12, B.J. Prager inside.
This is Prager with it up on top.
Brendan Tierney behind the goal, Quint, usually where Boyle plays, right?
Well, Boyle will either be directly behind or directly up top.
And now he swings up top.
Oh, and there's a nice save. Shot down low, and Murtha was up to the challenge. Bodies flying behind the goal.
Goal is empty. Murtha's on the ground being held down, looks like, by Prager.
Boy, look at the sticks flying over there. Right in the middle of that scrum was Tom Garvey of Hopkins.
Another freshman, Scott, that Dave Petromola really high on.
You talk about emotion, and right now, to me, it's apparent that one team's playing with more emotion than the other. And take a look at the absolute wood chopping and the stick swinging that's going to go on in this loose ground ball. PJ DeConza and Garvey right here. These guys, if you're not going to get it, you've got to take arms. And watch the checking right there. Whack, whack. Just absolutely peppering the Princeton arms. Whew.
And the Blue Jays come up with it. PJ DeConzo. A long pass upfield. Benson trying to run it down.
When in doubt, chuck it long. Oh, late hit from behind by Damian Davis.
And there's the flag.
And that was Gilman on McDonough, and no one's going to tell me that Davis didn't know that was Bobby Benson.
That play reminded me of the game we did in the Dome 2 years ago when the ball was thrown upfield to Benson, and he knows where it's going. Remember, it bounced up and over. How Benson, right here, Benson's got a line on it, and here comes Davis.
Oh!
Freight train alert. Just runs him down from behind.
And they clearly had no intention of going for the ball whatsoever.
Maybe that's the Under Armour big illegal hit of the game.
You know, I've said this on record before. Tommy Polley's probably the greatest high school athlete I've ever seen in the Baltimore area. Damian Davis is right there. He is just a monster.
Two-time state wrestling champion.
Yeah. Great football player.
Now Hopkins trying to survive. They were down 2 men. Second quarter, game tied at 1.
Think that was a Gilman McDonough hit there?
When a guy that big gets going, there's no way he's going to stop. He's running downhill.
Benson will take it up top. Blue Jays just working the perimeter right now. Ooh, there they tried to zing it inside, but they couldn't connect to Lesueur.
Oh, nice strip.
And Doniger comes up with it. Boy, couldn't get it. Barry looked like he took his eye off the ball.
Ooh, big hit. Trouble. This is trouble.
Princeton, they've got numbers. Tigers in on goal, and a shot and the score. So Princeton, Sean Hartopoulos. No, wait a minute.
Waving it off.
Offsides, Princeton. Behind the play.
That's why they had numbers.
Hartopoulos was in alone.
They were man down, remember. This ball comes up to the midfield line. Princeton is man down, and you only can send 2 over. Right there, Joe Rosenbaum steps over, and right there, Kyle Bogger, 34, steps over. Someone else behind the play has got to stay back.
Good call from the officials, and you saw number 43, Chris Watson, try to kick the ball back to his teammate. Wild end-to-end action. It is amazing when there's a loose ball on the Princeton defensive end. They swarm like bees to it. It's incredible.
Guess what, guys? First quarter, these two teams are kind of feeling each other out.
Yeah.
Second quarter, they're turning it loose.
Oh, absolutely.
For a 1-1 game, this
Right.
has been a lot of action, right?
Very entertaining.
Teams back to even strength. So that long scrum killed off the Damian Davis foul.
Well, that big lift for Hopkins there, down 2 men at one point, and not to give up the goal.
But then again, when you again squander an opportunity with Davis on the sideline with an extra man, you got to take advantage of that.
Bolin back behind the goal. Now starts to run the offense. Got a pick from Hannah. Good pass and a shot and a score. Finishing was Kyle Barry, so 2 goals, both by freshmen for the Blue Jays, and they lead it 2-1. Nice pass.
Barry from Boland. Kevin Boland reminds me of Todd Cavallero, a midfielder for Hopkins. Played here in the early 90s. Got that great roll dodge. Spins, draws the double team, looks to the weak side, and there's Barry. Drops his shoulder and lifts that one top shelf. Nice pass. Terrific finish.
And we'll take a timeout. Blue Jays lead it 2-1. 9:46 left in the first half. Well, here's your preseason top 10, and you're going to see all those teams just about here on 2 Sports.
Yeah, next week we're doing Maryland at Towson. Should be a terrific battle. Maryland's defense looking very strong with Coach Dave Cottle, and Towson really one of the teams to beat this season.
And then the following week, we're right back here at Hopkins. Syracuse Orangemen in, so you'll see the best here.
And then Virginia Towson, so we've got some big games in March alone.
Hopkins with a couple of goals from freshmen have a 2-1 lead over defending national champs and top-ranked Princeton Tigers. First half from Homewood Field.
And that was Kyle Harrison, number 18, just hitting another gear there, kind of to get some space.
That was a nice scoop because Casino was locked right onto his back. Casino playing with a little sore hamstring. He's a monster. He's a horse. He's about 6'2", 200. But Harrison's slightly faster, and he just beat him with that loose ball.
Kyle Berry, who scored that last goal, one of the prize recruits for Dave Petramala last year at the Haverford School in Pennsylvania. 73 goals, 25 assists, scored over 100 points.
Not a bad year.
Illegal procedure out of the substitution box against Hopkins. Princeton controls.
Hopkins busy sending in their defensive unit, which is Corey Harned, number 4 and long stick midfielder, an attackman when he came here to Hopkins a couple years ago.
That's Lieberman. The long stick gives it up.
Lieberman looks like he may have taken over the role of Ryan Mollett, Quint. Second time we've seen him push the ball up into the offensive end.
Yeah, he's got their best handle as far as guys with the long sticks. Lieberman last year played the long stick midfield position, so he's used to having the ball in his stick.
You wonder how long they can keep Partopoulos, Prager, and Boyle quiet. They've done a great job in the early going. Oh, nice touch pass there. A shot on goal. Murphy with a save behind the back. That hit the pipe, I think.
Brendan Tierney put it over his shoulder and hit the post. Big hits on the far side.
And a flag is down. We got bodies flying everywhere.
The cons of
something after all that, Pizer went after somebody.
Pizer dumped Prager behind the play, and he got caught. Here's the first save by Murtha. Watch this ball go off the post, and then it's a free-for-all on the far sideline. We have 2 monster hits. DeConza laid somebody out, might have been from behind, and then behind the play, Pizer gets caught
well after the
doing something to Prager. Okay, that's legal, but those guys kept going at it. That's a foul right there from behind.
Yeah. And Pizer was just off to the right of the screen.
Pizer, exactly. Pizer and Prager were locked up one-on-one, and Pizer forgot that there was a backside official, because you're always going to get caught.
As Tony Saragusa once said, make sure you know where the cameras and the refs are if you're going to do something illegal.
That's it. That looked like a wrestling match.
So this will work out in Princeton's favor, and probably severely, unless there was something else that we didn't see. And Boyle again is down in the, Ryan Boyle for Princeton's down in the box again. So
Ryan has been active. Hasn't scored, but he's active.
Pizer knows where he belongs. He's in.
Last year, Boyle had 2 penalties for a minute and a half.
This is Brian Abbott, who's the new head football coach at Loyola High School. He's coming over from St. Paul's. We see Dave Petramala, Billy Dwan behind him, Seth Tierney.
Well, we couldn't hear what he said, but we can just count the numbers. Right now, Hopkins only has 2 defenders out there. Not good. Here comes a third, Corey Harnett, and now a 4th, Benson Irwin. So they'll have 4, and it looks like Princeton's going to have 5.
Wait a minute, here comes a 5th.
Let's go, so it's going to be 5-on-5 for the moment.
Boyle in the box. And who else is in the box?
Pizer, yeah. Pizer's down on the knee.
Howard Offit behind Billy Dwan, the Hopkins brain trust. Mentioned Seth Tierney, not a son of Bill Tierney. It's his uncle. So a lot of Tierneys on the field today. Come on, guys.
You. Little extra space now. We're 5-on-5.
2-1 Hopkins. Princeton in possession.
Quinn, I'm impressed with Hopkins' speed, their team speed, particularly on defense. It seems like they're moving really well.
Josh White. Back across to Dumont.
Arnett or Irwin got a stick on that, I believe, Quint, right?
Dumont, a dangerous left-handed shooter, tried the jump shot, and the defense collapsed as he was taking the shot. So a nice job. Much like in basketball, when the guy pulls up for that jump shot, you got to get to it, get to the ball.
This is Josh White, number 36. He's actually an Army Ranger, still in the reserves. Went into the Army after he came out of high school.
Very highly recruited player out of St. Mary Scott. Really a great high school player. Played for Jim Moorhead.
Artopoulos, he's got a cannon. Down low and a save from Murtha. Hopkins up with it.
It's Watson, the freshman, Chris Watson. See how he handles the heat.
Nicely done. Yes, he circles away from circles away from trouble and then looks cross field.
They missed on the pass to Irwin, and Princeton back at him.
Tierney, a little flip there to Owen Daly.
Those are the kind of little mistakes in a game like this that will absolutely kill you, because there's not going to be many possessions in a game like this to begin with.
Yeah, it looked like Pizer had some time. No one really pressuring him at that point.
Murtha had made a real fine save.
And Watson made a nice play to get the ball out originally.
Dumont with it.
Tierney now out on attack. Boyle still out, it looks like. Yeah, Boyle not in the game.
Tierney, Hartopoulos, and Prager on attack.
Spinning is Dumont.
Dumont, Clark, and Daly at the midfield.
Tierney back behind the goal. Hartopoulos going right side. Bounces it over the goal.
Hartopoulos took 118 shots last season, by far the most on this Princeton team. More than 10 per game. Today he's really hasn't taken many. He had the one that was called back, and that's really the other one, only the second shot I can recall.
Yeah.
Hartopoulos
had the winner against Towson in the NCAAs last year with just over 2 minutes left.
Boyle back on the field with the ball right now.
5.5 minutes left in the first half. 2-1 Hopkins. Harrison got a hand on him. Look out, Ryan Boyle.
Yeah.
Almost turfed himself.
Tripped over the line out there.
Dumont working up top. Loads up the right hand, gives it off.
Good recovery there.
Ooh,
left hand
that's a big shot by Hartopoulos. You can see how smooth his release is. Just drops down and lets it sling for that corner. But that was some nice offense by Princeton. They drew the double team, kicked it to the adjacent man, and got a decent shot off. That Hopkins dodges a bullet as Hartopoulos' shot just misses by an inch. Right there, as Pizer steps up, that creates a seam, and he nearly nailed that corner.
Just under 5 minutes left in the half. Hopkins leads Princeton 2-1. Yo, peeps, let's get this party started. Did my lips move when I said that?
Like your hat.
What does FUBU mean, Keith?
Well, I mean, it's what it is. It's a clothing line that I never knew you were interested in.
I think I've got a contract with them.
Yeah.
FUBU.
That's big in the UP in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Right?
Quint's wearing FUBU, I bet. He's a closehound. 2-1 our score here. 4:56 left in the first half.
I think that's Ray Lewis's line of clothing that he has.
Okay. Princeton in the orange, Hopkins in the white jerseys. And we saw Hartopoulos just before the break let loose. How aware, when you're in goal, Quint, are you of the guys that have the cannons, always where they are, where they're setting up?
Yeah, you're usually very aware, but the problem with Princeton is there's so many guys that can burn you.
Right.
That you kind of just have to wipe that from your mind and just focus on every guy. You know, focus on the ball, forget about the number that it's coming from.
Quick dash to the goal there.
Should be a crease violation. Josh White.
Yeah, they had several crease violations. Quentin, talking about the notes from that scrimmage against Army, and it said Princeton was called several times in the crease.
Yeah, many times when teams invert, when they attack from behind, defensively, you're taught to use the crease as an extra defender. Funnel, the attack player towards the crease, get his momentum going. That way he either has to stop, or if he runs in the crease, it's a turnover.
Harrison takes the wide pass. Kyle Harrison scored the first goal of the game. Freshman out of Friends. What a way to make your college debut against the defending national champs and getting on the scoreboard.
First shot, first goal. There hasn't been many more other than that, though, Scott. 2-1 game here. Approaching 3.5 minutes.
Benson. He's usually got something on the scoreboard by now.
Yeah.
Imagine offensive players get a little frustrated in this kind of game. Poke loose.
No call. It looked like the official ready to throw the flag, decided not to. Clearly got hit in the helmet.
Damian Davis stepping up, playing tight defense on LeSueur. Then he gets some help from Rosenbaum, and this happens right in front of the Hopkins bench, and they think it's a slash. Davis ties him up right there. You could see that was what they wanted as a slash violation. LeSueur turns to the officials looking for the call. No call was made. Nice defense by Princeton. You turn your back, they're coming with 2 or 3 men on you.
Now let's see how Princeton does on the clear. They've had some problems in the first half. No trouble this time.
When they clear with their midfielders, guys like Owen Daly and Brad Dumont, they're going to be successful. Just give it to those guys, and they can run, and they just carry the ball upfield.
So Dumont just weaved through. This is Pellegrino with it. He's got the only Princeton goal. Clark out on the wing. Up top to Dumont. 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Brad Dumont, and oh, he gets hammered.
Nicely done by Corey Harned, number 4, knowing that Dumont is a left-handed player, and then Pizer comes in and just jacks him after the shot. Well done by the defense, and then the goalie, Nick Murtha, beats Ryan Boyle to the end line. Perhaps our Under Armour big hit of the game there by Michael Pizer, big number 20.
Certainly in contention. Pizer had been active, to say the least. Some before the whistle, some after. Hopkins in possession. They've got a 2-1 lead. This is Doniger. Adam Doniger played a lot of attack last year at the midfield. Harrison. Shaken and Bacon. Here comes the double team. Wisely gets rid of it. Barry couldn't handle it, and Princeton in possession. These guys are chilly. They don't want to admit it, but I know they're cold.
Coach Petramala upset with that last turnover. Harrison's got to pop out to space and really create some separation before he makes that pass, or the player behind the cage has got to make that a shorter transition.
Okay.
Because Harrison's putting himself under a lot of duress. I mean, he's basically double teamed, 2 sticks in his face.
And Barry couldn't get the one hopper.
And Barry couldn't handle the one hopper, exactly. So nice defense. Princeton making every transition from player to player so difficult.
Owen Daly getting hounded up top, looks inside, it's deflected, and Murtha comes up with it. See, Murtha pretty good in transition. Quint, right, he can get out of the cage and go with it.
This is trouble right here.
And we got a whistle.
We're going to have a timeout on the near side by Coach Tierney. So Murtha's outlet pass gets deflected, and then Boyle hustling causes a turnover, and Princeton will get one more possession before halftime.
Regroup here with 59 seconds left. Bill Tierney has the orange around him, and boy, he's giving it to him.
Yeah, if you can read lips, you probably know exactly what he says, but from an emotional standpoint, we were talking about it earlier, the team in white, to me, is playing with a little more emotion than the defending champs, and I think right now Coach Tierney's asking, hey guys, let's pick it up, let's get our, the guys on the bench, let's pick it up, it's a cold day, play a little more emotion.
And don't you think season opener at home, playing against the defending national champs, advantage Hopkins? I mean, sure, Princeton has to defend their title, but we saw that in football everywhere the Ravens went this year. It's kind of like it's your big game. You got a chance to knock off the champs.
Oh, exactly, and definitely not happy with his team's performance right now.
Bill Tierney, we told you his record Just unbelievable at Princeton. 170 wins, 48 losses, but I think even more impressive, 23-6 in the tournament. In the big games, Bill Tierney's teams find a way to win.
And they win the close games. They do it with defense. Last year in the national title game, really, they were taken in the semifinals. They were taken to the ropes by a Towson team. Towson could have won that game. And then in the finals, Syracuse kind of laid back and didn't play well in the first half, and then reeled them in. And it looked like Syracuse was going to win, but Princeton somehow re-rallied and won it in overtime. It was a great game.
Keith down on the sidelines. We'll hear from the coaches at the end of the half. Under a minute left in the half. Princeton in possession, but Hopkins on top 2-1. Set play here, you would think, and they throw it away.
Well defended inside. They were looking for Prager on a little screen. Dan Clark, covered by Harrison, threw the ball inside to Prager.
And you see Bill Tierney steaming over on the sidelines. He's going to let them know what he thinks, I think, at halftime. They just heard a little bit of it. They're going to get the full story when they get inside. Blue Jays trying to clear. Good pass near side.
Great pass that time by Pizer. That was a frozen rope across the field right at the stick of Kevin Boland.
See the time left, 20 seconds left in the half, so Hopkins probably happy to have the final possession, take a run on the goal, and that at worst go in up 2-1. Oh, and they throw it right into the stick of the Tigers, but time running out. And that's going to do it. First half in the books. And if you're Dave Pietramala, you got to be pretty happy with a 2-1 lead, Quinn.
You've got to be enthused with the defense and the goaltending. They've dominated play. The negative is they only lead by a goal. If you're Princeton, I think you're going to ask for a more emotional play out of your veterans.
And Quinn, a lot's been said about this recruiting class that Dave Pietramala brought in, and Kyle Harrison and Kyle Berry with goals here to give Hopkins a 2-1 lead. Let's go down to the sidelines now, Keith.
Yeah, with me, Bill Tierney. Bill, you knew this team was going to come after you with all their guns, and that's basically what they've done, huh?
No, they're excited. Petro's a great coach. They're a great team. They got a lot of young kids that are playing full of emotion right now. It looks like we're the young team and they're the old experienced one, but we played a terrible half of lacrosse and we're only down a goal, so we'll try to make it better next half.
What do you tell your team right now?
Just to get composed again. We've got a lot of guys who have played in a lot of great big games, and they got to start acting like it.
Okay, Bill Tierney, thank you very much. Head coach of Princeton Tigers. His team down 2-1 at the half. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by STX, always in the game. And Baltimore County Savings Bank. Come home to Baltimore County Savings Bank.
Here, Kyle Harrison, one-on-one from up top. He's got those great ankle-breaking moves, and he scores.
Mark Pellegrino with the answer.
Princeton's only goal of the day. They've been awful quiet on the offensive end. Pellegrino, a late addition to their second midfield with their lone goal.
And more from the freshman.
Boland draws the double team, kicks it far side to Kyle Barry. Both Kyles, Kyle Harrison and Kyle Barry, freshman's goal scorers for Hopkins.
Second quarter got a little physical.
Pizer goes toe-to-toe with Brad Dumont and just digitizes his world. Big hit by Michael Pizer.
And let's take a look at the Paramount Kings Dominion stats.
The shots have gotten a bit more on the even side. Hopkins had an early advantage. Take a look at the face-offs. 4-1. That's crucial. Saves even. Both goalies have done very, very well. Neither extra man has been able to score.
All right, and we check back in with Keith Mills.
Muller just out of the Hopkins locker room, and Dave, your intensity level in this game from start to finish of that half, unrelentless. Got to feel good about that.
I do. I feel like our young guys are playing hard and the older guys are showing them the way. We got to be a little more careful with the ball. We played far too much defense against a very talented team in the second quarter. We need to settle down on offense. They're starting to come a little bit quicker to us, and we got to handle the ball on the offensive end a little bit better.
What did you tell your team at the half?
Told them to stay to the game plan. Keep doing what we're doing. We're up something like 20-10 ground balls, so we got to keep winning the ground ball war. But we got to value the ball, and right now we're throwing it away too much and giving them too many chances.
Okay, good half, Dave. Best of luck in the second half. Dave Pietramala, his Blue Jays up 2-1. We'll be back for the second half face-off right after this.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week, brought to you by STX, always in the game. And Baltimore County Savings Bank. Come home to Baltimore County Savings Bank. There's a lot that's new at Toyota.
We're just about set to go. Second half. Hopkins leads Princeton 2-1. We've heard from both coaches. What do you think? Are we going to see much different here in the second half, Quint?
No, I think we're going to see basically the same blueprint, but Princeton's going to pick it up. I think defensively they may pressure the ball a little more, and offensively they've just been kind of stale. They've got to get Boyle, Prager, and Hartofelis involved with the offense.
With Paul McMillan up here from the Sun. Can you hear us? Are we all right?
Just barely.
Okay. All right.
Loud enough.
Okay, we'll get your headset straightened out here and get some comments from Paul, who's been on the lacrosse beat for a lot of years. Get some insight from him. And boy, Harrison coming out in a hurry. Here comes Hopkins. Woo! What a lift that would have been.
Harrison pops it clean on Casino, and then Barry rifles the ball over the cage. Those are the kind of shots you got to put on the 6x6. In a game like this, you're just not going to get that many great opportunities. I always thought as a goalie the toughest saves were the first one of the first half and the first one of the third quarter, because you're on the pines, you're inside, and that first shot, if they put the ball in the cage, usually went in, truthfully.
Well, Eric Whedon, tough guy to replace, but Harrison looks like he's going to fit in right there on the X. Here's Harrison. More than just a face-off specialist.
Interesting to hear the two coaches, guys, talk about the difference in attitudes going into the half. Tierney really irate at his team.
He settled down. He was very nice and polite with you, but I think as soon as he left you, he was blistering some paint off the walls inside.
You could see it when we were here early and Princeton came out for warm-ups. They didn't have their game faces on. You could definitely see it. Hopkins came out in their all-black warm-ups.
Body language, yep.
And you could read it right away.
I totally agree with you.
2-1 the score. Hopkins with the lead. 13:46 to play in the third quarter. We got Paul hooked up now. You can hear us.
Yes, sir.
You can speak.
Special guest, Brooklyn Park guy.
Okay, here we go.
Go Bees. Bees gone.
This has got to be. This is a very, very special moment. Two Brooklyn Park guys in the same mic.
Yeah, and I'm caught between you. That's the problem.
Real lacrosse country down there.
Oh, absolutely.
Paul, your notes on the first half?
DeConza really is frustrated. Boyle, I've never seen an attackman who's supposed to be running the show lose his cool that often.
Gets so flustered, yeah.
I think he matched his career total for penalties in that first half. He had 2 all of last year, and very frustrated player, very frustrated offense.
Well, yeah, Bill Tierney said it. He goes, you know, we're playing like the team that's not been here before. We've had a lot of big game experience. We're not playing like it.
And such an experienced offense, too.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they've been held to only 1 goal by a rookie goalie. Murtha looking good. Everything he's had to stop, he's stopped.
I'll tell you what, we've seen the impact from Harrison, right? The freshman with the goal,
right from
face-offs. Yeah, there's
right
a
from the
flag.
get-go.
A lot of savvy. That's going to be on Joe Rosenbaum, number 5, the trip of Adam Doniger.
And Doniger down into the turf. Take another look at it.
May have got their feet locked up, but either way, it's going to be on Rosenbaum. You see Rosenbaum with a little shove, and then the trip. Their feet got locked up, and Rosenbaum will take a seat, and Hopkins again on the extra man. Scott, Paul's doing something special. Obviously, a lot of interest in the University of Maryland basketball team. Paul writing a book on University of Maryland basketball program, Cole Fieldhouse, the history of Cole Fieldhouse.
During the Cole Fieldhouse years, all 47 years, and wouldn't it be interesting if my last chapter is about a championship season?
Ooh. Wow.
This team is very capable. You know, Lefty Drizel's great teams in the 70s. They only played 7 guys, but this team goes great 8 deep.
Yeah.
They've got inside depth.
Oh, good look inside, and a great save. Parked right on the doorstep was Kevin Boland, but Gould met the challenge. Wow.
Boland in the crease anyway, so it wouldn't have counted, but Gould, and both goalies, Murtha and Gould, stepping up in their first college games today. Kind of like a young Quinn Kesnick, as you see.
Yeah, there you saw the foot in the crease as well.
Yeah.
Nothing like having a rookie who's a senior.
Yeah. A captain who's a senior, right.
Paul, now that we're partners with the Sun, Keith and I do expect an autographed free copy of the book, right? That's part of the deal.
If you keep plugging, I'll give you more than 1.
I got enough dirt on him. I can get your whole case up.
We're going to write another book, right? There's Bill Tierney. He hasn't
his brother coached me in baseball in high school.
I've got a
so it's a family affair with us.
I've got my 1971 high school yearbook, and my basketball team, we came within 47 points of playing at Cole Fieldhouse. We lost the region, and the 8th grade manager was one Keith Mills.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Look out. Shot. And Hopkins up 3-1.
How big is a 2-goal spread in this game, guys? Could be real big. Matt Hanna, number 11, and we talked all game about drawing the defense. That time it's Kevin Boland from behind the goal. Defender goes down, Boland sneaks in, Hanna ducking in, beats Damian Davis to the spot, and that's a big goal, 3-1 Hopkins.
Boland's making plays, Keith. They
Boy.
just missed the time before with him.
that'll be as big as Murtha.
Yeah, big play.
Let's see how big this kid is.
Well, Paul, we appreciate it as always.
Well, guys, my pleasure. Thanks very much.
Don't be a stranger now. We'll see you again down the road.
There wasn't a whole lot of lacrosse to talk about in that first half, so we could talk some hoops.
Yeah, good luck on the book, dude.
Thanks very much, guys.
Paul McMullen from the Baltimore Sun, one of our new colleagues. We have a few years.
Wait till you and I start writing the column, right? We'll get Quint hooked back up here. 3-1, Hopkins with the lead. 11:48 left in the third quarter.
That move by Boland we call the finalizer. It was a move named by Ryan Powell of Syracuse, where you take the defender right to the back of the cage, and many times he'll trip on the cage. And you can see that time, I think it was Bogger, got his foot caught in the goal on the netting. And that's a great move for a quick attackman right there. That defender's got to look down for a second to avoid the goal. Many times they trip, and that time he did.
Well, Hopkins has had about 3 or 4 opportunities here early in the third quarter.
Well, they have really controlled this game, guys. It's from a.
Here's another one.
Oh, that's Barry getting decked by Lieberman after the shot.
Nice defense by Lieberman, and then the hustle by the remainder, Kyle Bogger, who was caught behind the cage, just gutted that out and sprinted towards the end line.
You know, one thing, coaches, you notice I marvel. You see Bill Tierney, he's probably seen every situation you could possibly see in a game, but you know what you can't teach guys and you can't instill in your players? The will to want to do it. You either want to do it or you don't, and the course of a game is not the time to try to instill it. And Quinn, I agree with you. They came here, and I'm not saying they overlooked this team, but they weren't as ready to play as Hopkins today.
Every clear has been an adventure.
But you know what? All it takes is one goal to swing that momentum. Oh, and there's a hit and a penalty. Wow.
And that's on Tim Muir.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cross check. Going to be a cross check. But again, the clearing game for Princeton, they've had 3 absolute breakdowns. And here they dodge a bullet. Take a look at the hit. This Farrell upfield. Bogger. Ooh. Cross check, you know, this is just a referee's judgment. Had a good angle on it. The elbow is high. The elbow is high.
And he went down too. It almost looked like he almost slipped at the time that Muir was delivering the contact.
Yeah, last year that was a huge point of emphasis for these officials, the high hits, and I think we're going to see a continuation of that, which is good.
That is good.
You got to keep your shoulder, keep the elbow down.
Tell you what, guys, if this is a sign of the things to come from the Hopkins team this year, you better come, as Sam Adams would say, with your hard hat when you play this team, because they are delivering some leather today.
Extra man now for Princeton, trailing 3-1. And there's another flag.
That's going to be some kind of off-ball violation.
And a shot and a score. So Princeton up top. Owen Daly bangs it in, and it's 3-2.
Daly on the extra man, one of the best units in the country because they can beat you in so many different ways. It starts with Boyle, Prager's inside, and you give a guy like Daly this 10-yard shot, forget about it. The ball's in the back of the net, steps up, lets it rotate, pings the pipe. Murtha never really saw it. Owen Daly, good-looking junior with that extra man goal.
Owen Daly, we talked earlier, scored on over 52% of his shots last year. Father was an All-American at Virginia, and his grandfather an All-American at Duke. Runs in the family.
Yes, it does. Played on the under-19 team a couple of years ago, and how loaded was that team, huh? Jeez whiz.
And look at Harrison doing the job on the face-off so quick.
Yeah, Harrison won the draw. He's going forward with it very effectively on Casino.
Boy, look at that.
Harrison head up, looking for help.
I mentioned it earlier. Last week's scrimmage against Cornell was the most intense scrimmage I've ever seen. Remember, Coach Petramala was a coach at Cornell. Those players came here, and it was a war. I've never seen anything like it, and I think that really prepared this Hopkins team for the game-like intensity that we're seeing.
You have a lot of guys vying for playing time as Connor Ford has it deflected in front of the goal. Here comes Princeton. You have a lot of guys playing for playing time. Things like that happen, Quinn. You get a lot of competitive battles.
Not a good shot by Ford right there. The Hopkins offense was in their substitution pattern.
A good little shuttle pass there to get it to Dumont, who brought it up.
Mentioned the McDonough connection, Dumont and Daly. Bo Dixon, the headmaster of McDonough, here today, watching a lot of his former student athletes in action.
That's Boyle trying to find some room, spinning.
Boyle looks to pass first. 16 goals last season, but 12 of those came against the Ivy League. So against non-Ivy League teams, he only scored 4 goals last year.
And what's the 37 in a row? Princeton's won in the Ivy League, haven't lost a game since 1995.
Total domination.
Yeah, they're closing in. I think the Ivy League all-time record's 41. Oh,
nicely done.
Well read.
Yeah, you could see it, Scott, from our angle. Perfect, Quinn, how he just read that.
He anticipated, saw the angle. Now an unsettled situation, and Princeton up with it at midfield. Dan Clark.
Princeton will be tested in the Ivy League this year. The other teams have improved. Brown is ramping up. Yale returns the majority of their team, and Cornell has an excellent defense and the goaltender.
Boyle gives it off to Prager.
Forgot to note, guys, it was starting to rain when I came back upstairs from the field, and it's like it may have stopped, but field a little slippery.
Damp and cool here at Homewood Field.
That's Hartoffel's spot. He likes that. 10 yards on the left wing. Just misses the pipe again. He's had 2 nice looks at the cage, and he's just got to bring it in a bit. Here it is on the replay. Catches it with his feet set. Just lets it go, and look how close that is. No goalie's going to save that unless it hits him. It's just too fast. It's on you right away.
Good pass, and what a save from Murtha. Shot up high around the shoulder area.
Big time save. Princeton's offense looking much sharper now, getting quality shots. Murtha trying to keep him at bay, but Hopkins just playing too much defense.
Murtha proving his coach's decision right so far, Quinn. Gutsy move by Dave Petromala.
I give Murtha a lot of credit. Here's a guy who's a senior getting his first start ever. He could have packed it in. He could have said, hey, I give up, but he really fought it out last year as Rob Scher's backup and has earned the spot this fall. This is a great save with the left elbow.
And then the dive.
We're going to take a timeout. Hopkins leads 3-2. 7:08 left in the quarter. Hey, don't forget, Monday night, this coming Monday, 7 o'clock right here on ABC2. Keith and I, along with Jamie Costello, it's the annual Ed Block Week in Baltimore, and the Ed Block auction. Some great memorabilia items. Joe Montana, Brett Favre, a lot of NFL greats, Johnny Unitas.
Elvis's sweatbands will be
That's
there.
right. Get them while they
Elvis's
last.
equipment. Elvis's jersey and helmet.
All for a good cause. Much of the proceeds go to the kids at St. Vincent Center, so hope you can join us from 7 to 8. 3-2 here. Hopkins leading defending national champion Princeton. Blue Jays in possession in the white jerseys. Princeton in the orange.
First team to 6 wins.
I thought you were going to give us that next goal wins.
Yeah, there we go.
Thought you're really good. We didn't get the Q line, Keith. We'll give them a week off here early in the season, let them develop.
What would I think coming in the consensus was Princeton favored by 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there haven't been a lot of 2 or 3 goal games in this series. There have been a lot of 1 goal games recently.
Seems like every time Princeton steps on the field, it's a 1 goal game.
You say 3, that's a lot.
Defending champs going against an inexperienced defense. I think, you know, if you're Coach Petromala used all week. Hey,
you don't have to explain
no
yourself.
respect. He was saying, hey, we're not getting any respect in this matchup, and he really used that as a great motivating tool.
Most coaches always try that one.
But do you think that Princeton hasn't respect that?
Lieberman.
Them, Quinn? I mean, Bill Tierney obviously has to respect it.
Yeah, I would think that this Princeton team
Maybe the media might not.
Off the pipe.
Yeah.
I think it's the most overused phrase in sports. Respect.
I totally agree.
Hartopoulos just nailed the post, and he has been around the goal and around the post. So close. Murtha just... Whew.
When's the last time, guys, Bobby Benson's been shut out?
Yeah.
After 3 quarters. Well, we're closing in on that right now.
Probably when he was like a high school freshman.
I was going to say, maybe when he was old as those kids were out here playing at halftime. At 8 years old. He hasn't had a whole lot of chances.
17 of his 25 college games, he's had multiple goals, so he's on the board.
Obviously, in Bill Tierney's preparation this week, number 13 was a point of emphasis. And Adam Donecker with the ball, number 25.
And conversely, Prager and Boyle for Princeton.
Yeah.
So it's...
Davis with the stick check. Boy,
Barry's got 1 goal. That looked like a shot, but
excellent
turns out
defense.
to be a pass.
Yeah, excellent defense by Davis. Sticking the numbers, just lifts. Now we can see Princeton extending the pressure.
Ricky Schultz with the pressure. Good pass in front, and a quick stick and score from Connor Ford.
And it was the freshman who set that up after Hartopoulos' miss, Quint, which set up this whole sequence.
Lesor deals with the pressure. Here's the Hartopoulos post shot. Look at him down the seam. Oh, aims for the corner. Murtha sprawls, can't get it, but the ball hits the post. Now Lesor deals with the pressure of Ricky Schultz. He's burnt. Here comes the help. They leave Connor Ford. The second slide by Lieberman is not there. And you know Ford, money in the bank. The Bronco cans it from close range.
Now, was that a Quint Kessenich given nickname, the Bronco?
No, that was a Dave Petromala given nickname, the Bronco.
And we're going to step out. Hopkins leads by 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Well, shoe change over on the sidelines for the Blue Jays. Maybe turf getting a little wet here. Light rain. 4-2. That's the big story here. Hopkins with the lead. Under 5 minutes left, 3rd quarter. And we saw some of that play from behind the goal from Peter Lesor.
Yeah, good
Dave
point,
Petromala said we got somebody that can do some things that maybe we didn't have last year in Lesor behind the goal.
Another turnover from Princeton.
That's an un-Princeton-like turnover right there. Let me tell you, they usually will kick that ball behind the cage. Very seldomly will they force it inside like that. And you can see on the sideline, Coach Metzbauer and Coach Tierney just shaking their head. Very un-Princeton-like.
Here comes Hopkins now up 2 with 4:10 left in the 3rd period. And a game really, guys, that they've really controlled.
Blue Jays get the clear, take it into the attack zone. A 3-goal lead in this game would be huge. It's 4-2 Hopkins right now.
And again, the freshmen Barry and Harrison seeing some substantial time. Along with Ford, Donecker, Benson, and Lesor. 3 freshmen on the field right now for Hopkins.
This is Donecker.
Boy, one of his first shots of the game.
Oh, that's on goal, and a terrific save as Gould got stick on it, still loose. Bodies in the crease.
Benson got dumped.
Yeah, I think Benson was working for the push call. Nice save by Gould. Take a look here. Benson's just touched by Lieberman, and he falls easily. That's the right play.
200 pounds.
He's a smart player.
You get that inside position, and someone breathes on you, you fall.
But Brian Abbott wasn't buying it. The referee is Damian Davis and crosses.
Look out, and double team.
And a flag.
Did a nice job getting rid of it as he was falling.
Free possession.
In on goal and a save.
Great save by Murtha. And the play that Kyle Balger made on the sideline in front of the bench could be a game-changing play. He makes the play. They almost get a goal, and now they get a foul. Gets away from the double team somehow. One of the biggest plays we've seen.
Watch as he's falling down, how he got the pass. Well,
this is the tail end.
Later, yeah.
This Dumont comes in left-handed. Murtha gets those feet together, gets the stick down on the turf.
Great awareness.
Extra man now for Princeton. They've scored one of their 2 goals. Owen Daly on the extra man with an outside shot.
Under 3 minutes left in the quarter.
Pick your poison. Boyle swings behind now as the quarterback.
Up top, shot sails wide. That was Owen Daly. Go back where you've had success, I guess.
Boyle so effective at skipping a man, getting the ball through the seams of the defense. Now Hopkins will shut him off behind the cage, take him out of the equation.
It's a pass, yeah.
And turnover.
Well done by defensive coordinator Bill Dwan, Coach Petramala. They switch things up. They say, hey, we're going to shut down Boyle and play it 5-on-4. And it worked.
Make them do something different, right? Yeah.
Cut the head off and let the body follow. And right now, as Paul McMullen noted, that Ryan Boyle is really, they've been no factor in this game. Nice catch there by McDermott, who, if I'm not mistaken, Quint, last year against Princeton, McDermott really had a strong game. The Rosenbaum with a stick to the head.
Yep.
And the flag is called, or the flag is thrown.
He hog-tied him. You could see him working the neck.
Yeah, McDermott had a good Princeton game, is right. McDermott and Hanna were the two offensive stars in that game. If you want to call stars, they only scored 4 goals. It's going to be a holding violation right there. McDermott, great camera work. You can see how the stick gets caught underneath the chin. Right here. Here it comes. And he lifts.
Oh, man.
Ooh. Great call by the officials. Excellent camera work catching that.
What do you mean great call? I could have called that one from up here. His neck got ripped off.
Speaking of the officials, Quint, assess their job. I think they've done a pretty good job today.
Yeah, no, I do too.
He'll be the first to tell you if they don't.
No, I've eased off on the officials. I think our first year.
You got a few memos.
Yeah.
Big possession here for Princeton.
There's a shot to score. Adam Doniger got it cranked up, and Hopkins has a 5-2 lead with 1:49 left in the third.
Doniger from Lesueur on the extra man. The penalty comes back to haunt Princeton. Doniger sets his feet right-handed. He's shooting from the left wing, so he knows he's got time. The defense can't get his stick, and he just nails the far corner. Terrific textbook shot, the way he uses his entire body, gets that great rotation, and just aims for that low corner.
For Doniger, back-to-back goals. Lou Braun facing off for the Blue Jays this time, but Princeton controls.
Yeah, Owen Daly, 6'3", 180 pounds of him. Comes out of the pack.
Certainly not panic time yet, guys, but does Princeton change the pace at any point?
I don't think at this stage they do. With about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, they may. But this game is far from being over right now.
Clark got in, looked like passed up the shot.
Looked like that might have been a pass, Scott. I thought it was. The referee ruled it was a shot, but if it was a shot, it was a bad one.
Yeah. I thought he backed off the shot.
Princeton now rotating Ryan Boyle into the game from a midfield spot, so he's going up against a short stick. Let's see if the Hopkins defense recognizes and comes early with the double team.
Ooh, and
Harnett down, just crushed by Corey Harnett.
For Murtha. Heavy traffic in there, and another great save. Hartopoulos let it fly, and Murtha playing some great goal.
That was absolutely an incredible sick save. The way he just sensed that Hartopoulos was coming to the offside and slid his body. Doesn't get any better than that, Nick Murtha.
And how about the Conza and Harnett clearing and settling in a situation where time, of course, right now with 30 seconds left in the quarter and a 3-goal lead, and really Hopkins just controlling this game.
One of Princeton's most impressive offensive performances.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Great ball movement, bringing Boyle in at the midfield really caused some havoc for the defense. Multiple shots, great
first time flurry, all day,
great flurry of offense for them.
And now
time running out now. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Benson in heavy traffic bounces one wide.
3 seconds. They'll just throw the ball in front. Princeton will just take arms.
McDermott calling for it. Well, got a shot off. And that's the end of the quarter. So hang on. Hopkins with a 3-goal lead on the defending national champs and top-ranked Princeton Tigers. We're back for the fourth quarter right after this. There's our Paramount Kings Dominion third quarter stats.
Hopkins with the advantage in shots, and take a look down. Saves 11 for Johns Hopkins and 8 for Princeton. And great flurry. Nick Murtha kick save and a beaut right there, and then he robs Hartopoulos, sliding to his left. This save right there. Wow, excellent movement by Nick Murtha, the senior.
And we start the fourth quarter. Princeton wins the draw.
And let's see, Quint, if Princeton goes back to putting Boyle. Well, he's starting, looking like he's going to start behind the goal now, but you're right, they had some success with Boyle out top as a midfielder.
If it's not working, change it up a little bit, right?
Force Hopkins to make an adjustment.
And Bill Tierney's only got 2 goals on the board here. Got to be thinking about plan B about now.
And yeah, the adjustment they've made here is that Hartopoulos now is playing a midfield position, and Brendan Tierney, number 2, is playing down low on attack.
And if Boyle, is he that valuable? Is he that crucial to this offense? Certainly looks like he is today, huh?
This is Dan Clark with it. There's a good look, and off the pipe, Hartopoulos.
The third one off the pipe for him.
Got to be concerned about footing.
And Benson comes up with it.
Oh, nice
good
pass.
In on goal, and a great save. Julian Gould comes up with a showstopper.
Oh, another great pass. Oh, Benson with 2 great feeds and has nothing to show for it.
That reminded me of the Virginia game last year when McDermott had the breakaway against Tillman Johnson and got stuffed. Virginia came back and put it into overtime. Off the post, we go down to the other end. Benson, an incredible pass, and you've got to finish a breakaway opportunity.
Oh, great feed, no look pass.
Kyle Barry.
A lot of net to look at there, Quint.
Got to give Gould some credit, though. That's a shot that these players at this level should make 8 or 9 out of 10.
Again, Barry just a freshman, but great save.
This is Harrison, and he sails it high.
You can say what you want about the freshmen. They are undaunted in this game today, especially number 18, Kyle Harrison.
Looks like he belongs, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Seasoned beyond his years. Of course, these guys coming out of school now, Quint, just like basketball, they play so many big games, so many games against good competition.
Harrison again, and this one just a little wide left.
Harrison twice. He just ran right by Owen Daly. And Owen Daly, let me tell you, is one of the best defenders in the country. Take a look at the out-of-town scores. Towson rolling over Lehigh. Hofstra trying to end the 7-year streak against Loyola. And Maryland Duke knotted up in the 4th. Carolina and Navy. Big weekend.
We'll see Maryland next. Oh, and that one almost trickled in. Kyle Berry almost had his 2nd goal of the game.
Especially, Quint, with the automatic qualifying situation this weekend and next weekend, crucial to a lot of teams in their NCAA hopes.
Hofstra is a dangerous team.
Owen Daly, that's why.
Hofstra beat UMass last week. They play Hopkins next week, I believe, and then they play Princeton the week after that. Hofstra is a dangerous team.
Right now, though, Dave Petramala, his thoughts on how you close this 5-2 lead out against a team so poised, at least in reputation.
How many times can Hartopoulos hit the post?
I know, you wonder that, don't you?
Penalty markers down as Murtha makes a save.
On Hartopoulos again.
A hold on Michael Pizer. So Hartopoulos pushing the cage left-handed from the midfield slot. Murtha comes up with a save, but you'll see the hold happen just prior to that replay.
Hopkins 5-11 in openers since 1986, trying to start their season with a big win here today.
That replay showed it.
Yes,
it was
indeed.
just like a hook in hockey.
Similar to what Rosenbaum did earlier to McDermott. Caught a little bit of the head. Boyle now out front.
And it's picked off. Nice defense. The Blue Jays. Smith.
That's the pass that Boyle loves. That seam pass where he throws it
Oh, look at Benson, and he shoots and scores. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but Benson finishes.
And how many assists does a goalie get, Quint? He just got one right there.
Short-handed. It starts with Vince Smith, number 3, picking off the Ryan Boyle through pass, down low to Tierney. He shovels the ball back to Nick Murtha. And then the defender, P.J. DeConza, rifles it upfield. Right there, he was throwing the ball to Timmy Muir. It gets through the defense, cherry-picking Bob Benson.
Whoa.
And he gets his name in the
scorebook. But you know what? You mentioned something earlier. Benson seems to know where the ball's going to be. And he saw that he started in a corner, started when he saw the ball being thrown. Hey, I have nothing to lose. Ends up gets a goal. Smith, another freshman. Dave Petromola and his staff putting a lot of
call them garbage goals or whatever you want, but a nose for the ball. And Dave Petromola says that Bobby Benson's the smartest player he's ever been around.
No doubt about it, Scott. We saw it a minute ago when that long pass bounced over the H at midfield and he picked it up, almost led to a goal.
How big is that goal? You're down, up 3, and suddenly you're not only fighting off an opportunity for Princeton, but you score.
You talk about the little breaks, and Coach Tierney's got to be asking himself, hey, we deserve a break now. How many pipes are we going to hit?
Yeah.
How many good opportunities are we not going to capitalize on? And then to give up a goal like that. Ooh. I would think that Coach Petromola will want to shorten the game here.
4-goal lead with about 10.5 minutes left.
After about 45 seconds, the referees will put their hands up, signaling that Hopkins must keep it in the offensive zone.
Of course, I'll tell you what, Quinn, if I'm Dave Petromola, I might not want to shorten it up right now because I'm really working on all cylinders here. Of course, you know more about it than I do.
No, I'm not talking about stalling. I'm just saying value every possession.
This team in control of this game and really are, they look finer, they look sharper today.
Bolin gives it up and falling down.
Kyle Berry, the freshman.
Nice move, just lost his footing on the wet turf. Lieberman came out to play him, lunged a bit.
Scotty, Dave Petromola talking to Quint and I when we taped our TV show this week, saying that every year there's probably 6 to 8, 10 impact freshmen that can come right in and play. Well, we've seen 3 or 4 of them on this Hopkins team alone today.
We got a delay call against Princeton.
Kyle Bogger tackled Matt Hanna in front of the cage. It's going to be an interference call.
Benson working from behind the cage.
Benson can pass the ball. Remember, Towson tried to cover him with a short stick last year, and 3 times he backed his man in and distributed. He's got good vision.
Puilasaurus quick off the gut, too. McDermott inside. Nice speed.
In some traffic, they try to get it into Matt Hanna, and now the penalty.
Hanna wishes he had that one back, but
a fine pattern. Very sharp in the precision of that offensive pattern. Not really looking like a game that's slated in early March.
Yeah, you know, if you're Dave Petromola, Scotty, you look at losing Brandon Testa, you lose Sean Nadlin, and you lose Brandon Shook, and you're staring with 9:20 left of the game, and Princeton has 2 goals.
Yeah, not bad.
And a new goalie.
But tough time to take a penalty if you're Princeton, too. I mean, you got to be careful. So extra man for the Blue Jays. They're up 4 goals, 6-2. You want to be aggressive, but you don't want to play down in a shot and a score. And Hopkins just pouring it on as they stretch the lead to 5. That was Kevin Bolin on the score.
Bolin from Ford, their 2nd extra man goal of the day. Precision passing, tic-tac-toe. Bolin sneaked, nails the corner. The Blue Jays capitalize. Here's Ford. Bolin sneaks from behind. The defense is just a half a step slow, and there's nothing Gould's going to do about that. Great passing, nice finish.
Kevin Bolin having himself a big day here. The Blue Jays extend the lead to 5, 7-2, a little over 9 minutes left.
There's a lot that's new at Toyota. All new.
The Towson University Fan Cam is presented by Towson Athletics. Come on out and catch the Fun and Gun Tigers this lacrosse season. Call 410-704-2244 for tickets. Well, a little fan fun here at Hopkins today as the Blue Jays lead Princeton 7-2. Under 9 minutes left to play. Princeton on the attack, trying to get something going.
Boy, Boyle was destined to try to do that himself. Corey Harnett picks his pocket.
He made a nice hustling play, Boyle did, off the faceoff to come upfield and to get that ground ball.
Look out.
I tell you what. Yeah, you could.
The official got in the middle of that one.
That's going to be a hold or a push against LeSoir. Damian Davis is going to win that battle. Anytime there's a strength element involved, Davis is not the guy.
Hey, they talk about LeSoir's work ethic, and he didn't want to quit that time.
There's Davis just shoving LeSoir into the official. The foul was before that, though, as LeSoir was draped all over Damian Davis's back.
Princeton trying to find a way to get something in the back of the net. 2 goals on the afternoon for the Tigers. I think they came into this game with an 11-game win streak.
Wow.
That's on the line. Pizer brings it up for the Blue Jays. The long stick shot on goal. Benson had the rebound.
Oh, Benson threw it with his hand, didn't he?
That's what it looked like from here.
Whatever it takes.
Princeton packed it in.
From behind.
Good hit there, I thought.
Princeton packed it in effectively.
Oh, boy, Hopkins is taking aim at him now. Tim Muir missed the hit right there, and a flag down.
It's going to be a hold against LeSoir. Free shot here coming up for Princeton.
And this is one way to get back in it, Quint. Score here, get the extra man. Because it sounds a lot easier than it has been. Than they've been able to execute against this Hopkins defense.
Hopkins has scored down a man.
You see Dumont. I thought that sequence there showed a lot. Dumont looking for anything. Cutter, anybody, couldn't find it. Just took away his options.
Princeton, nice pass. Princeton in their invert set there, where Hartopoulos and Boyle are up top in the middies. Dumont and Daly are behind.
Dumont couldn't handle the pass, and now the penalty will be assessed.
Bob Benson, number 13. Watch his right hand. Watch his right hand.
Oh, clearly threw it. Absolutely.
Clearly threw it. And he gets away with that.
It wasn't even close.
He gets away with that. Lieberman carrying upfield. No foul on that. Potentially an Under Armour hit of the game.
Potential.
Although I think Pizer's earlier hit was more impressive.
We tend to agree with you for a change.
Bill Tierney taking off the jacket. And that's a bold move today because it is raw down there.
Gary Williams hasn't had to take off his jacket.
No.
He should.
He almost had to against Wake Forest last Sunday. Gary looked like he played that game after that was over.
Under 7 minutes left. And a penalty marker down.
Wow, they're just getting so many chances, Quint.
Owen Daly.
Knock him down.
The left-hander.
Quint, have you ever seen a Princeton team with decent looks just struggle to put the ball in the net?
Back in 1988 when we shut them out, yeah.
Who was in goal that day?
That was a different Princeton
Who was in goal that day?
Some little guy. No. That was Coach Tierney's first year at Princeton, and obviously they didn't have much. And 3 years later...
How many saves did you have?
Not many. Not many. Maybe like 5.
But they were all good ones.
4 years later, Princeton's walking away with a national title, so it didn't take them long.
Yeah.
But no, they are getting good shots. And early season, you know, a lot of these shooters take some time, just like batting practice in baseball.
Sure. Oh, sure. Defense is ahead.
Just a fraction of an inch. Just a fraction of an inch, and you get in your groove.
One of the officials' flags are down around the 30-yard line.
2 fouls here. Hopkins will either have 4 defenders or 3. So this is...
Looks like they have
3 out there right now.
They got 3 right now.
6 on 3.
Referee's trying to sort it out. Both Dave Petramala and Bill Tierney, you see Bill there, have both had their say in what should be done. And what is done is it remains to be seen.
Now 1 in, 1 out for the Blue Jays.
I've only seen this once before in lacrosse, and that was last summer, a 6-on-3. But here comes a 4th, Dan DePietro. No, actually, no. So it will be a 6-on-4. Last year in Major League Lacrosse, we did a game that it was a 6-on-3.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was against What a team that had John Grant and some of the best offensive players in the league.
Coach Tierney's son was in the goal for New Jersey.
Right.
They scored 4 straight within 30 seconds.
All right, Quinn. Nick Murtha just had some words with his 3 defenders. What do you think he told them?
He said, hey, give me a chance, guys.
Yeah, give me a chance. This is where you want to shade, take away the best outside shooter. So you don't want Hartopoulos shooting from 10. You don't want Daly shooting from 10. I would encourage Boyle to shoot from the wing here. I'd almost let him shoot from that severe angle.
Yeah. And
Tierney had a little trouble hanging on behind the cage. That's Tierney down low and right through the wicket. Right through the legs, it looked like. And Princeton takes advantage of the penalties. It's now 7-3.
Brendan Tierney from Owen Daly on the extra man. Sensational finish. Watch Tierney step up. He takes an overhand rotation, but this ball ends up down low. Watch. Boom. Just snaps it down 5-hole. Terrific shot. The way he reads the goalie's body movement and then just pounds that one into the turf. Great finish.
That stopped a 4-goal run by Hopkins. 7-3, 6:27 left. And face-off's key. Looked like Harrison had possession. Got it stick checked away.
Yeah, but Princeton will regain possession here. So still a lot of time left. Crucial part of this game right now.
Here they come. You can feel it.
Here's where the experience and poise of a team like Princeton can really help.
But can they beat the Hopkins defense man up when
they haven't been able to?
Yeah. Clark with it. Back behind to Boyle. Dumont back to the right side. Shot. You get a piece of that one?
Quinn, is Hopkins doing anything that Bill Tierney hasn't seen?
Well, last year Boyle was kind of an unknown as a freshman, so Hopkins has made it tough for him to get the ball on all settled situations. They're stretching their defense to him, taking him out of the equation. The other thing they're doing is they're not coming off of Prager. So when a Princeton player goes to the cage, they're very slow to leave B.J. Prager in front. So we haven't called Prager's name.
No, at all.
And Boyle has not really had the time behind the cage to find open men.
Looked like he tried to force it to Clark that time in some heavy traffic. Blue Jays can sit on it a little bit now.
Sure can. Now's the time. 5:25 left. I didn't agree with it with 10 minutes left, but now, Quint, you're 4 up.
Kill a minute every possession.
Absolutely.
Princeton will have to stretch here to look for the turnover. Hopkins, as I said earlier, eventually will be warned for stalling, you think.
And you take some chances. You go with the double team, but that can pop somebody open for a quick goal, too.
Harrison's a good guy to have the ball in his stick because he can run.
He can run away from people. Doniger challenged.
They'll be warned here in a second.
Harrison just breaking them down. That ball was deflected,
in a way, it's almost like Jason Williams with Duke, guys. He puts so much pressure on you because you're so aware of him to penetrate that, if you cut him off, you still have an out.
Sure.
Keep it in the box. 30. Keep it in the box.
4:36 left to play. Hopkins on top, 7-3. This is the freshman Kyle Harrison got the scoring started for the Blue Jays. Great pass in front. Couldn't quite connect. Cutting right out in front was Peter Lesor.
That move, that little right to left, back to left, the way he can slide by the guy is
and get his hands in position. You know what I'm impressed by?
Stay square.
Stay square, keep his shoulders square, and have his hands ready to make a move.
Hips move.
Oh, boy.
Jason Williams, Marshall Falk, athletes who can do that are.
You got a lot to look at if you're defending that.
Plus, he seems to have a sixth sense as he knows where everybody is on the field.
Next week, we're in College Park, Maryland and Towson. A chance to watch Tony Siemens.
Boy, little confusion for Hopkins on the defense right there.
Daly.
Murtha diving all out. How many times has he hit the turf today? I can count a dozen off the top of my head.
Princeton playing the clock now as much as they're playing the Blue Jays with 3:48 left. They're down 4 goals. Nothing's coming easy for the Tigers. And there's a one-hopper from Brad Dumont in the back of the net. 7-4 with 3:34 left. Don't go anywhere.
Dumont spinning jump shot. Great effort by Brad Dumont. Now he's known as a lefty, so Harnett steps up and takes his left hand away. But he's got the ability now to spin for that right hand and pound that ball into the turf. The location of this shot, wonderful bounce shot beating Murtha. Brad Dumont.
And you look into the huddle down below, and now Princeton's got a lot of life. They're trying to jack it up and take a run here. 7-4. We get Toyota Lacrosse weekly, Fridays at 5, Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. 7-4 Hopkins on top of Princeton. 3:34 left. Princeton was down 7-2. They've scored the last 2 goals, and
nice scoop by Harnett.
Face-off so important now.
Boy, that was a big one, Scott. And Harrison and Harnett, I thought, at least Harnett on that Quint came up big.
Owen getting pressured.
Coach Petromalo with a timeout, and a smart one right there.
Unsettled situation, yeah. I see Kyle Harrison jogging off.
Getting back to that Toyota Lacrosse Weekly, you'll see highlights of this game, the Syracuse-Virginia game, and the Maryland-Duke game as well on Comcast.
Here's where we are next week. Tony Siemens, Towson Tigers, a great Final Four appearance last year. Bring back 233 of their 238 goals. And Dave Cottle, of course, the story down with a fresh start down in College Park.
Offense versus defense. Maryland with a terrific, really strong defense. Michael Halley, Pasavia, their goalie McCormick taking on Towson. And Towson should be a high-scoring team. So it's kind of a battle of styles, a battle of wills.
Anxious to see McCormick. Dave Cottle said that he was just sensational in fall ball.
Okay? And then we take it down. 1, 3, believe. 1, 2, 3.
All right, Dave Petromalo rallying the troops here for the final 3:16.
Dave and his coaching staff has to be ecstatic as you see Bill Tierney checking the clock out, sees 3:16 and down 3. You've been real close to Petro since he's come to the Baltimore area, Quint, and he really has put his mark on his team in a short period of time. Very tenacious, very intense, very emotional team right now.
Not enough hours in the week for Dave Petromalo as far as his work ethic. And he's asking a lot of these athletes, and they're delivering. First class and world class is really Dave's mantra.
5-11 in openers recently. Hopkins, what a way to start their season if they can knock off Princeton here today.
Davis on LeSueur,
yeah. Seward quick, and Bolin, another one. Harrison in on the midfield. Poke loose. There's the open man, Doniger.
Oh, what a save.
Shot and a save, rebound. Oh. Second chance for Kyle Barry.
I thought Barry might have had a step.
I thought Barry had a step, but Owen Daly not going to be caught sleeping. Great save by Gould right here. That's a game saver. That ball goes in. It's lights out. Game over. So Gould has kept Princeton's hopes alive with this miraculous low save.
Quint, both of these goalkeepers making their first college starts have made some big saves today.
Hopkins with 41 shots today, and Princeton 26. So Gould has had his work cut out.
We're getting down near the 2-minute mark. 3-goal lead for Hopkins.
Hopkins is going to need to make one more play somewhere along the line, whether it's a big save, a face-off, a defensive pickoff.
You may notice Hartopoulos has made a shoe change, as most of these players, because of the rain.
That shot wide to stay in Princeton's possession with 1:48 left.
Murtha runs that one out, even though he knows that he's not going to get it. That gives his defense a time to get set, and the referees give him the opportunity to jog back to the cage.
Smart play. There's Boyle.
Up top, right-hand shot on goal, and there's a good save. And a key save. Now Hopkins will try to clear.
And Murtha's going to get a 4-second violation. You have 4 seconds to get rid of the ball after a save or step out of the crease.
Minute and a half left.
That is a call by the officials that is generally overlooked. I mean, the refs usually give you a good 5 seconds.
Yeah. Artoffel is doubled up and gets the shot off. Well, with a 3-goal lead, time running out, 1:14 left. Hopkins trying to pull an upset here on opening day.
If Hopkins can hold on, you're going to see a bunch of white jerseys absolutely maul Nick Murtha.
Yeah, and justifiably.
Right out front, the shot and the score. Ryan Boyle turned the corner, and that cuts it to 7-5 with 58 seconds left.
Not over yet. With Casino, they can pop the fast break. Boyle scores his first goal of the season, turns the corner, no help is there, finishes high.
Everyone might have been looking for the pass on that, Quint.
Yeah, this is where Hopkins was going to be slow to go to Ryan Boyle. Here he is. He just beats DeConza with a nice move.
See Gilman School from Hunt Valley. He ran over to the bench after he scored and held up 2 fingers. 2 more goals, guys. Now
one more goal and another face-off. And
face-off.
Again, Kyle Harrison delivers.
Oh.
Corey Harned came up with it.
Timeout near side.
Petramala calls timeout with 49 left.
Casino put that out to space. I'm not sure who won the draw.
Yeah, good point.
But the ground ball that Harned made was really skillful.
And here's a guy, Harned, who was an All-American high school attackman. Quint was an offensive player in high school, was a short stick midi last year, long stick midi now. Great stick work from the wing. And how many times have you said wing guys on face-off make it?
Here's the Boyle. Yeah, this is the Boyle goal. This will be the only little mark against the work that P.J. DeConza has done today, because DeConza has taken Boyle out of his game. And really, he might be the MVP of this game, because if you do a good job against Boyle, the rest of the Princeton offense will suffer. And I think DeConza, other than that effort right there, DeConza has won that matchup.
Has Princeton been so dependent on one player as they are now with Ryan Boyle on their offense?
I think they'll grow out of that as the season goes on. But I think today we're seeing that they're missing guys like Rob Torty and Strebel from last season.
Some other scores. Towson taking it to Lehigh. Syracuse underway with Virginia 1-0 there. Maryland and Duke tied 6-6 in the 4th quarter. Hofstra leads Loyola. Some of the intensity here as you look into the Dave Petramala huddle. Look at him pumping that fist. He's trying to rally his troops.
He's with DeConza right there. And as you said, PJ's probably thinking, hey, coach, man, he scored 1 goal. He's had 1 shot in, 58 minutes of the game, for goodness sake.
Here we go. Harrison in possession, using that speed, trying to run away from the defense. Wraps one, shoots and scores. That'll do it. Kyle Harrison, he started the scoring, and I think he may have just finished it.
I warned you guys about Harrison before the game. People are saying, no way he can be that good. This kid is legit. This kid, with 58 seconds to go, who did they give the ball to?
Oh.
The freshman.
And then he makes then he scores. Hey, I'm not holding the ball. I got a free path into the goal. Catch me if you can. I'm going to score.
No double team. He
right
takes Rosenbaum to the rack, multiple fakes. It's in the back of the net.
Just a few blocks to the north here.
Yeah, Friends.
Prep star at Friends, Kyle Harrison, scored the first goal of the game, and that should be the game winner.
And now he picks up the loose ball here to ice it.
Under 30 seconds left. Harrison gets knocked down. It's going to go to Princeton.
I know this was an emotional week for the Hopkins coaching staff. One of their teammates from college.
Big hit on the other side as Harned puts the leather.
Look out, fellas. Benson Irwin, 37. A flag goes down. And a smart play by the Hopkins players to get out of there.
Bill Tierney being held back by one of his assistants.
Here's the hit. I was mentioning about the Hopkins coaching staff. One of their teammates from college, Michael Morrissey, his father, Sean Morrissey, passed away this week. Mr. Morrissey was a coach up on Long Island and very close to Bill Dwan, Seth Tierney, and Dave Petramala. And I know this week was a sad week for them, as and all Hopkins grads that went to school with Michael, passing of Sean Morrissey.
Final seconds now, 14 seconds left, 8-5 Hopkins.
Another flag just comes flying in here. So we have 2 flags on the field right now. Referee, I think, has just kicked. B.J. Prager is getting penalized.
Yeah, I just heard Bill Tierney say, wet his lips, shut your mouth. He's just trying to
another flag.
Slow his guys down.
Well, this is getting ugly. This is getting ugly. Obviously, any kind of talk to the referees today has resulted in a flag.
B.J. Prager just been hit with 2, looks like, what, conduct penalties?
I think B.J. Prager got the first, and I think the second might have been on the coaching staff.
14, that's Boyle.
Yeah. We got mics down there. We'll listen in.
Boyle is the in-home, so he will serve the foul for the coaches.
Let's see when they come over. We'll get the calls down on the field. So it might take a while to sort this one out. This is a litany.
Now you see Lieberman with his stick over his helmet there. Probably more shock at the score than anything else right now.
There's some unraveling that goes on anytime you're
Let's listen.
Both bench fouls, is I think what he said.
We see 2 Hopkins players, both Prager and Boyle.
Bill Tierney, obviously, in a situation like that, guy is going to protect his players at the end of the. You saw Benson Irwin just plow into a crowd, take out a couple guys. You certainly don't want. You're going to protect your players in this situation. Absolutely, you are.
Now they're counting them down. 5 seconds left. Hopkins bench going crazy. And Hopkins has done it.
And as you said, Quint, there they go to Nick Murtha.
Hopkins knocks off the #1 and defending champion Princeton Tigers here. What a way to start their home season.
Dave Petromala standing alone down here now, getting some handshakes, kind of looked around like, wow, we really did it. You see Coach Petromala, maybe other than the Syracuse win last year up there, has to be his biggest win, I would think.
Biggest home win in his 2-year career. And you point to the points of emphasis, and they got it done. You give the players a lot of credit for executing the game plan. They did. The game plan was there. It worked. But the young players executed it, and that was the big question mark. Could this inexperienced team actually follow through on what the coach right there had designed?
And there was a lot of talk about Dave Petromala's recruiting class. We saw it firsthand here today. Kyle Harrison, Kyle Berry, the defense from Chris Watson. Some great young players coming into this Hopkins program. We'll take a break. Final score, Hopkins over Princeton, 8-5.
The Toyota Lacrosse Game of the Week. Brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better choices. Get the feeling. Toyota. Wells Discount Liquors. Visit Wells for all your entertaining needs. And Union Memorial Sports Medicine. Outstanding in the field. The STX post-game report is brought to you by STX. Always in the game.
Scott Garceau, Keith Mills, and Quint Kesnick back. Our Under Armour big hit of the game.
Michael Pizer, number 20.